7 extraordinary places on Earth. The gates of hell, dead lakes, haunted forests, and rainbow mountains that look like they were created by aliens. Is this just a work of nature, or is it a trace of something unknown? Our Earth is an extraordinary place, full of natural wonders, but there are corners that look like they belong to another world. Some of them are fascinating with their beauty, others are terrifying, and still others remain a mystery to scientists. Today I will take you on a journey through 7 extraordinary places on our planet. From a burning crater in Turkmenistan to a mysterious forest in Romania, from a murderous lake in Cameroon to surreal mountains in China, each of these places has its own unique history and secrets that continue to fascinate scientists and travelers. Prepare yourself for a journey full of awesomeness. And if you are ready, we start from a place that looks like the real thing, the gates of hell. Part 1. Hell's Gate, Turkmenistan. In the middle of the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan, there is a place that looks like a portal to another dimension. A huge crater, almost 70 meters in diameter and 20 meters deep, is filled with burning tongues of fire. Locals call it the Gates of Hell, and the sight of this place at night gives you the chills. But how did it happen that the Earth literally caught fire here? It all started in 1971, when Soviet geologists were researching natural gas deposits. While drilling, they came across an underground cavern filled with methane. The ground caved in under the weight of the equipment, creating a huge sinkhole. Scientists feared that toxic gases would start leaking to the surface, so they decided to set them on fire. It was assumed that the fire would burn out the gas in a few days. The problem is that more than 50 years have passed since then and the crater is still burning. The locals believe that this place is cursed, and that the crater is an open gate to a hellish abyss. Although scientists are trying to find a way to extinguish it, the fire continues to devour the interior of the crater, making the landscape of the Karakum Desert look like a scene from another planet. Is this just the result of a failed experiment, or something more? One thing is for sure, this burning crater is one of the most surreal sights on our planet. And now we will move to a place that looks like a large mirror lake reflecting the sky. Part 2. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Imagine a place where the sky and the earth merge into one. The horizon disappears, and an endless mirrored surface stretches around you. It seems as if you are floating in the air, drifting between the clouds and the blue sky. Sounds like a landscape from another planet? And yet this place exists on Earth. It is Salar de Uyuni, the largest salt flat in the world. It is located in Bolivia and stretches over 10,000 square kilometers. It was created millions of years ago when a prehistoric lake dried up. Today it is an endless plain covered with a thick layer of salt, which turns into a giant mirror during the rainy season. When it rains on Salar de Uyuni, a thin layer of water collects on the surface of the salt, creating a natural mirror. There are no waves, no currents, just a perfectly smooth surface that reflects the sky and clouds. The view is so surreal that astronauts train here for space missions. The salt flat's surface resembles the landscape of the Moon or Mars. NASA also uses it to calibrate satellites. Salar de Uyuni is so flat that its surface is one of the most accurate natural reference points on Earth. But it is not only a beautiful place, it is also dangerous. Beneath the salt layer lie huge reservoirs of water and mud that can suck in unwary travelers. Some legends tell of people who never returned, as if the land had swallowed them forever. Salar de Uyuni is one of the most extraordinary places on our planet, and its cosmic landscape is breathtaking. Now let's move to a place that looks like a landscape from another planet, where dragon trees and surreal vegetation create a view out of this world. Part 3. Socotra Island, Yemen. There are places on Earth that look like they come from another reality. The island of Socotra, located in the Indian Ocean, is one of the most surreal landscapes you can see. It is a place where nature has created something completely unique. Plants and landscapes that look like they come from another planet. But what makes Socotra so special? First of all, Its isolation. The island separated from the continent millions of years ago, which meant that life on it developed in complete isolation. The result? As many as 37% of the plants and 90% of the reptiles living on Socotra do not occur anywhere else in the world. The island's most recognizable symbol is the dragon tree, Dracaena cinnabari. Its thick, twisted trunks and spreading crown resemble giant umbrellas. From its bark flows a red resin called dragon's blood, which has been used in medicine and rituals for centuries. But that's not all. The island is also home to bottle trees, Adenium obesum, which look like giant pink bubbles. They are resistant to extreme conditions and can store water, allowing them to survive long periods of drought. Socotra is also a place full of strange rock formations, caves and white sand dunes that look like a landscape from a science fiction movie. No wonder the island is called the most alien place on Earth. Its unusual fauna and flora make it look like a world that has broken away from our reality and moved to another era. And now it's time for a place that scares even skeptics, the most haunted forest in the world. Part 4. Hoia Baciu Forest, Romania. In the heart of Transylvania, near the city of Cluj-Napoca, there is a place that many call the Romanian Bermuda Triangle. It is the Hoia Baciu Forest, one of the most haunted places in the world. But what makes this forest so fearsome? People who enter it often experience strange phenomena, from mysterious lights and unexplained sounds to the feeling of being watched. Some say their skin suddenly starts to burn, others lose track of time, and still others simply disappear. The most terrifying legend associated with this place tells of a little girl who entered the forest one day and never returned, until she appeared, 5 years later, in the same place, in the same clothes, with no memory of anything. Scientists have been studying this place and have discovered something strange. In some parts of the forest, the trees are unnaturally twisted, as if some invisible force was deforming them. In the very center of the forest, there is also a round clearing where nothing grows, no tree, no plant, just bare earth. Some say it's a portal to another dimension. Interestingly, UFO sightings in this area were so frequent that official research was conducted there in the 1970s. In 1968, one of the scientists, Emil Barnea, photographed a strange metallic object floating above a clearing in the forest. The photo remains one of the most famous UFO photographs to this day. Is Hoia Baciu a place haunted by ghosts, a portal to another dimension, or perhaps a center of alien activity? We don't know, but one thing is certain. The experiences gained from this place changed many people forever. The next location hides an extraordinary story. At first glance, it looks innocent until we remember that it killed over 1,700 people in one moment. Part 5. Lake Nyos, Cameroon. Deep in the African jungle, there is a calm, inconspicuous lake with blue water. When you look at it, it is hard to believe that in one moment it turned into a death trap, killing over 1,700 people and thousands of animals. We are talking about Lake Nyos, which in August 1986 became the site of one of the most mysterious disasters in history. But how can a lake kill so many people at once? It all happened in a matter of minutes. The inhabitants of the surrounding villages were falling asleep in their homes when suddenly, something filled the air. People fell to the ground, suffocating in an invisible cloud. When morning came, entire villages were dead. Animals lay motionless, and fear froze on people's faces. The only survivors were those who slept in the hills, above the mysterious phenomenon. Scientists have determined that carbon dioxide, a gas that had been seeping from an underground volcanic chamber for hundreds of years, had been accumulating at the bottom of Lake Nyos. For unknown reasons, perhaps an earthquake or landslide, the gas suddenly burst forth in a single gigantic explosion. The heavier-than-air CO2 fell like a deadly mist onto nearby settlements, displacing oxygen and causing the inhabitants to suffocate instantly. This phenomenon was called the limnic eruption, and to this day remains one of the most terrifying natural disasters. Was Lake Nyos just a warning of what might happen in the future? Today, scientists are trying to control the amount of gas at the bottom of the lake, but many believe it is only a matter of time before another tragedy occurs. Now we will move to a place where nature has created one of the most colorful landscapes in the world. Part 6. Danxia Mountains, China. Can nature paint pictures? Looking at the Danxia Mountains, you might get the impression that someone deliberately covered them in multicolored stripes. These extraordinary rock formations look like a landscape from an exotic planet. Hilly elevations shimmering with shades of red, orange, yellow, and pink, as if they were the work of a surrealist artist. But that's not art, it's pure geology. The Danxia Mountains are located in southeastern China and cover an area of several thousand square kilometers. They were formed over 200 million years ago, when mineral deposits accumulated in layers and tectonic movements and erosion slowly carved out this incredible landscape. The unusual colors are the result of various types of minerals and iron oxides that have been deposited on the rocks over millions of years. When sunlight hits these formations, their colors change from deep red to a golden hue, reminiscent of a Martian landscape. Interestingly, the mountains do not always look the same. Depending on the time of day and the angle of the light, their colors change, creating the illusion of wavy, colorful stripes. It's no wonder that Danxia Mountains are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of China's top tourist attractions. But there are also legends here. Some believe that the unusual rock formations are remnants of an ancient civilization that once inhabited these areas. Others say that the mountains conceal an entrance to a hidden world that only the chosen ones have access to. There is something extraordinary about this view. Looking at this place, it is hard to believe that it is on our planet. Finally, I take you to a place that looks like a natural stone labyrinth, full of sharp limestone spires and narrow passages carved by nature over thousands of years. Part 7. Chingi de Bemaraha Reserve, Madagascar. If we had to choose a place on Earth that most resembles the landscape of an alien planet, Chingi de Bemaraha would be one of the favorites. This extraordinary reserve, located in the western part of Madagascar, is a real stone labyrinth that stretches over an area of over 600 square kilometers. But what makes this place so special? First of all, its incredible rock formations. Chingi means a place where you can't walk barefoot in Malagasy, and that perfectly reflects the nature of this area. The rocks here are so sharp that one careless step can end in deep wounds. 80-meter-high limestone spires create a real stone forest that looks like frozen waves from another reality. Millions of years ago, the sea covered the area. As the waters receded, the limestone rocks began to erode. Rain and wind carved the surface over hundreds of thousands of years, creating a network of deep canyons, caves, and sharp ridges. Today, this stone forest is one of the most inaccessible areas in the world. But can anything live in such a harsh place? Amazingly, yes. Chingi de Bemaraha is home to over 200 species of animals and 15 species of plants that exist nowhere else in the world. Here you can find rare lemurs, strange lizards, bats, and birds that have learned to live in this stone jungle. This is one of the least explored places on Earth. Some areas of the reserve remain completely unexplored because climbing the sharp vertical rocks is extremely dangerous. Looking at this place, it's hard to believe it's our planet. Traveling through these extraordinary places, we discovered how diverse and mysterious our planet is. From burning craters to mirror-like deserts, from deadly lakes to mountains that look like paintings, nature never ceases to amaze us. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want, and see you in the next episode.